Hello Goomblets and welcome to Warhammer 40k! Specifically the Darktide video game. So unless you got trapped by a 40k fan who strapped you down on a chair and pulled out the PowerPoint presentation, you probably don't know a lot about this universe. Good, stay innocent. However, I will explain to you the lore you need to know to understand the game. So, you play as a convict in the Imperium of Man, which is a version of humanity which colonized the stars and roughly 1 million planets. And they all worship the God Emperor, who is currently a skeleton on a golden throne. And man, they went ham with the worship. Everything is about the Emperor, and how great he is, and if you dare say anything bad about him, you are sent to be killed, or worse. Well, little goober, how does being lobotomized and used as a computer sound? Yeah, pretty bad. The whole deal of 40k is to look at it and be able to say, well, my world is burning, filled with war, corruption, greed, but at least it's not that bad. So you play as one of a ragtag group of convicts who were sentenced to death for things ranging from sneezing in church to, oh god, oh my lord, holy shit, you did what? And now instead of being killed, you have been sent to Tertium, a hive city. Hive cities are basically New York, but 1,000 times bigger. Cities that reach the stratosphere and house billions, and are just as disgusting as New York, on a good day. And it's because of the stinky, icky rats that you're here. The whole city has been infected by this chaos god Nurgle, who is the god of pestilence, decay, and self-love. I mean, it's not all bad, but it's mostly not good. Now, the normal way of dealing with this is to simply nuke it all from orbit and never look at it again. But unfortunately for you, this planet is worth saving, so instead of sending anyone who is worth anything, they sent you! And now your ragtag group, composed of an average Australian, no, trust me, I can fix her. Do you know the definition of insanity? And Grob, who only has one brain cell and is still somehow the smartest one of the gang. Now, all these convicted criminals have to kill all the heretics and pus-filled abominations to save the Hive City, but not its people. Now that I've covered the basic premise, I can talk about the gameplay. Now, there are 4 classes that you can play, each specialized in a different thing. First, we have the veteran, he is the guns guy. His specialty is shooting from range and taking care of most sniper threats. But recently, with the newest update, they gave all the characters many more options. And I gotta say, while it does partially give me Path of Exile flashbacks because it looks similar, it's definitely not as hard. You don't need a degree in nerd sciences to get it. But I mean, it's still useful and a good thing to obtain. So your options are, you can get a smoke grenade to make your enemies not see you and miss more, or you can attach more insults to your fragmentation grenade, thus making the enemies feel bad over time, or you can get the almighty and famous crack grenade, which is meant to damage one of these things. So you can imagine the damage is gonna do to the squishy insides of the heretics that are being real dicks by not wearing their masks. Ah, there you go. Now go in quarantine, you goofer. You can't be out here this sick. Then there are the active skills. The starter one that can be upgraded makes you more accurate and deal more damage with ranged weapons. Then there is the voice of command, which allows you to scream really, really loud and momentarily become a DBZ character, staggering all enemies near you and healing your shield, which normally regens on melee kills or when you're close to your buds. It can also be upgraded to buff your team who will join you in the screaming. And then there is Infiltrate, when you go sneaky and turn up that sneaky snitch up to ear-busting levels and can get behind the enemy and then surprise attack them. Now, these things are exclusive, so you can't be a sneaky snitch that yells encouragement, but you can mix up your build depending on how you want to play. Next up, the I can fix her, don't worry Psyker, who gets their powers by being a complete schizo and letting the voices in their head win. And this sounds crazy, but it's true. If they listen too much to the voices, they blow up, which is worrying with my analogy, so I'm gonna move on. The Psyker is a mega quote-unquote magic class because instead of mana you have mental instability, and as previously stated, you will blow up if you use your powers too much. And your starting power is the power to upload schizocore, sigma-based, gymcore 24/7 content directly to the brains of your enemies, whose head will promptly explode for obvious reasons. The powered up version of the Brain Blast is just a straight up improvement with more damage and better charging. Then there is Sith powers, like literally. No unlimited power gifts. What is this, 2008? Still, I feel like this power is pretty self-evident. You shoot lightning from your hands and it hurt. Then there is the final grenade replacement, which is pure brain power rocks that you throw at your enemies and they fly around and kill them automatically. You can aim them towards one enemy for more damage, but they are far better as a crowd control ability. Now, for the crowd control, they have a... I said it is in 2008, and guess what? It's not 2012 either. Yeah, they have an ability which just knocks over everyone that is standing in front of you. When upgraded, it can deal damage to everyone that stands in your way, but in its base form, it's just something to push them motherfuckers off of you. Next up is a bubble shield, or a rectangular shield, depends how you customize it. Now, this is just a fucking shield. What else do you want to know? It blocks ranged attacks and buffs you if you're in the dome. I feel like this is the most video gamey ability yet. Next up is Scryer's Gaze, which is also known to me as Gamer Mode, because when you press the Gamer button, you get a bunch of buffs, and now if you max out your parallel, instead of exploding, you have a gamer moment. And this varies between smashing your keyboard to saying something that will get you banned on Twitch. Alright, so next up is, you young lad, don't eat those. Don't you know the regular ones are bad for you? Now the deluxe edition Tide Pod, now that's good stuff. The Ogren, a fella who is actually smart compared to a normal Ogren, because normal Ogren are more toddler level. I mean, our playable one is at least second grader level. But what he lacks in brain, he makes up for in brawn, being the tankiest class in the game. And also probably the slowest, but he can carry weapons the size of the other characters, and take double the punishment. The Ogren also happens to carry some of the most entertaining grenades, like, what? The Ogren grenade! Which is the correct size for an Ogren, and thus has the explosive power of a nuclear bomb. Because Jesus, if you see a horde and you don't like the fact that you're seeing a horde, you can chuck this thing in there and 2 seconds later, there ain't gonna be a horde no more. Then we have a true dilemma, because you see our Ogren was handed a box of grenades and told, okay, now you just take these and you throw them at the enemy. Got it? He did not, in fact, got this. Yeah, our little goober did not understand the assignment that well. So now he chucks an entire box filled with grenades at an enemy, which can be upgraded to make all of the grenades explode. Would you believe me when I tell you that this isn't even the stupidest grenade that Ogren has? Allow me to introduce you to the rock. Like, from the ground, regular ass rock. Turns out that even in the 41st century, the rock is still cooking. The rock is a powerful single target grenade that you chuck real hard and it deals a lot of damage. It has an interesting property of recharging after 10 seconds because Ogren just picks up another one. Then we have Ogren's active abilities, which start with what? Ouch! As I was saying, they start with the charge that lets you charge forward, dealing meh damage and knocking over everything in your path. This happens because Ogren thinks that there is a white monster behind the enemy, and so the brain rot takes over and allows him to move at ungodly speeds, shoving at sides hordes of people. Then we have Screaming, but the Ogren version, when instead of buffing your friends, you yell really, really loud that the enemies aren't really that smelly, and to be honest, they're cleaner than you. Now, there is no greater insult to a Nurgle follower than to tell them that they are clean and not smelly. So instantly, every enemy will begin targeting you. The upgrades simply heal you up a bit after using it and up the range. And to finish off the actives for Ogren, we have Mordaka. What? There's no way they didn't call this Mordaka. It's so free. Let's see here. Oh, well, fuck their names. This is now called Mordaka. because that's what it is. It allows you to shoot way faster and deal more damage. It is absolutely beautiful and by far my favorite active skill for Oghren. It is simply amazing. Alrighty, now calm down for a second. Alright, yes, the Emperor, you know, he's a real good friend of mine. I'm yellow, his whole thing is gold, so we chill, we vibe. Alright, so you have stopped screaming so we can talk about you. The Zealot. This is the DPS melee class of the game, and seeing as this game was made by the Vermintide developers, the melee is super satisfying, especially if you one-shot normal enemies. So join in on the fun of screaming your lungs out for your beloved Emperor, and enjoy the fact that most lines are delivered within an average decibel count of the hundreds. But what about Zealot's grenades? Well, we have... I don't know why, but throwing knives give me a bad sense of deja vu. It's whatever. You get to feel like Genji from Bad Game, or the average fighting game player when they discover projectile spam is really fun. Then we have a Molotov, a grenade as old as time. Or a stun grenade, which you can upgrade to be more stunny. I'm gonna guess that it uses either Emperor dick pics, or even worse, soap. This puts the demons in a state of shock and awe for a little while. Now, I won't lie, these grenades, not as cool as a lot of the other characters. Like Oghren gets a nuke, a rock, and a whole chest of nades. All three are really funny, but by sacrificing cool nades, Zealot gets to have probably my favorite actives in the game. One makes you mad squared, dashing forward and increasing melee damage for a little while another one makes you a sneaky snitch, but way more in an Assassin's Creed way rather than the stealth COD mission way like the Veteran. And then my favorite active for the Zealot, the Holy Relic, where they pull out a totally legit relic but from future eBay for only $99.99, and it makes all of your allies tougher, stuns all the enemies. You can choose to power up your and your allies' resistance or damage. All this while holding a mecha cross and yelling even more. So this is the gang of Beeblins that you play as. Now if I were to talk about every enemy, I would go insane, and this video would become a 4-hour rant on how not brushing your teeth and not flushing ever is good for you actually. But never mind that. What do you do in this game other than hit heretics really hard? Damn, if only it was Slanesh demons. It would be a better bonk target. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe it's for the best that it's not Slanesh. Anyway, in this game, other than beating the shit out of those funky fucks, you collect random stuff. Hack into terminals, cook methamphetamine, and fuck around in the Destiny trademark inspired tower, because all that it does could never be handled by a menu, and by said hub, you can upgrade your weapons, buy new ones, as well as match up for missions. However, there is a positive side to this tower place. The microtransaction shop, aka the lair of the demons, is actually relatively hidden. It's not right up in your face. I actually had to look around the whole area to find it, and that's pretty respectable. Now go get a mission to obtain your freedom, where all you will understand is Meanie Toastfucker once you get the last known fleshlight attachment for their toaster, and there will be a lot of people in the way of obtaining it, so you will get to kill a ton of them. Other times you will be told about someone who stinks particularly highly and are told to kill them or give them a shower to remove a leader. Overall, the story of this game entered my vacant air of a brain and then left it completely. So it's not anything too great, but it's alright. It's good enough for a game where the gameplay is obviously the center. Final score, bar of soap out of 10, you stinky stinkers. Now subscribe, like, and comment, or I will slowly move all the furniture towards the bathroom, forcing you to take a shower.